Welcome, everyone. Welcome to Soul Focus. Sorry about my production team today. I'll just change that. Oops. It's not the first time I haven't done that. This is my very special guest, Maria Logar. How are you today?
I'm very well, Brooke. It's lovely to be here with you.
And you're a hypnotherapist. Why don't you tell us about yourself?
I am. So I'm not a clinical hypnotherapist. A clinical hypnotherapist is someone that deals with certain addictions or weight loss or wanting to change something per se. In a clinical sense, I deal with past lives. So I'm a past life regressionist. So I use the technique of hypnotherapy, hypnosis, and I take clients into past lives for healing. It's an amazing way to connect with one's own true self and witness the experience through their own mind's eye as well. Yeah.
So how did you get into this field? How did you get into spirituality?
Oh, wow. Well, I've always been fascinated with reincarnation. I've always been drawn to the afterlife, to death, near death experiences. I guess I've always sort of wondered what was before this lifetime and what will be after. I stumbled across a wonderful woman by the name of Dolores Cannon, who sort of started my journey into past life experiences and regression work. And then I came across Dr. Brian Weiss, Dr. Michael Newton, all pioneers in past life regression therapy. And I knew that that was for me. I've always wanted to make a change in people's lives. I thought I'd go down the Western realm of psychology, but I wanted to dig a little bit deeper than that. So I ventured into past life regression therapy. Yes.
So how long ago did you do this? Were you always spiritual, or was that's what led you onto the spiritual path?
I've always been spiritual. I've always believed myself to be a spiritual being. I was quite sensitive as a child growing up. I had a few traumatic experiences in my teen years. That when I got to the age of 22, I knew that I wanted to heal the trauma, the pre-existing trauma that had taken place. And I had my first spontaneous past life experience, which was beautiful, fascinating in itself. And I knew that from that moment that there was more to this existence. There was more than we were taught, than the educational system taught us, than sometimes even our parents were aware of. And so I just started delving deeper into my own psyche, my own being. And I wanted to share, I guess, certain mechanisms that people could undertake to bring healing to their own lives as well. Yeah.
So did you go and see? Was there something bothering you? You had to go and see a hypnotherapist, or
no? I didn't see a
hypnotherapist.
I didn't see a hypnotherapist per se. I actually started off seeing a meditation teacher. I spent numerous years with her, studying with her meditation via meditation classes. She also incorporated yoga practices. From there, I was drawn to Reiki healing. So I spent some time, I studied myself and also spent some time with some Reiki practitioners, just realigning my own chakra systems and my own energy system. Which is profound because on an energetic level, we carry a lot. And especially if you're not just for empathetic and sensitive people, but in general, we are energy beings. So it's important to know how to clear our energy system from any attachments throughout the day, or also attachments from perhaps parental figures or attachments from environmental situations that we've been in. So learning these tools of meditation and realigning one's own chakra system definitely gave me that leap to be able to move forward and into the direction that I'm in now. Yeah.
Okay. So you're doing energy work. So how much of a boost? What sort of realizations did you start having when you started to move into that energy work? What?
My awareness, my sensitivity, awareness, I would say, to the environment, to the subtle energies of other people as well, to my own subtle auric energy, and also the energy that I was putting out there as well. So we are energy beings. Everything is comprised of energy. So it is really important for one to know how to control and harness their own energy, and at the same time also create safe boundaries with their energies as well.
So, so you started doing the energy work, and that started opening things for you. So you'd recommend that. What level would you recommend that people start, say, doing energy work or learning something like that?
I think if people can start primarily breathing, is focusing on their breathing, and then from there really focus on grounding themselves. Grounding is primarily, I would say, the most important tool to start with, because when you ground yourself, then you're also then able to connect then to your higher consciousness in a safe manner as well. You can't just connect to your soul essence if you're not properly grounded. You won't have as much of a resonance with your own spirit and with your own soul. So grounding is really, really important, and clearing your own chakra system, doing that work through breathing with a mentor or with the guidance of someone that is experienced. Yeah, I started off with Reiki, and I found great results with Reiki as well. It just depends where one is at, and sometimes it depends what we're drawn to as well on an instinctive level.
I guess because if the chakras aren't working, that can cause a lot of havoc in a lot of other areas.
Yes, definitely. Well, the chakra systems are exactly right, are aligned to our energy body. Of course, it all starts from the mental plane. So what we think, we then start processing within our bodies. So if we then have blocked chakras, these are your energy centers where your ki runs through your body. If these are blocked, these do start causing diseases within the body.
Yeah, and even behavior.
Yes, exactly right. If there's a chakra that's completely blocked, or if it's blown wide open, it will tend to have a negative repercussion for the individual. Yes, but they can feel it though. One can feel it. Yes.
Would you like to give an example of a positive and a negative?
Oh, look, it depends. For example, with your throat chakra, the throat chakra is in relation to your thyroid gland. If one suppresses who they are, for example, or they suppress their speech or their authenticity, it will start causing problems in the thyroid area. So each chakra is connected to a body part as well. And then if someone comes to me and they say, I do have thyroid issues, for me, that's an indicator of a potentially blocked throat chakra. Yes, which is then all about just becoming true to oneself, actually speaking your truth, sitting in your truth, expressing who you are, not suppressing your emotions, not suppressing your speech, but actually being comfortable with yourself to express yourself fully.
So if someone's got a blocked throat chakra and they're having thyroid issues, I guess with all of your other modalities, that could lead you into, okay, let's work out how we can fix this problem.
Yeah, definitely. That's an indicator, because sometimes people come to me and they're not too sure what's actually wrong. They know they've got certain problems, but it's sometimes hard to pinpoint what the issue is. They may feel a lack of self-acceptance or self-love, or they might have certain patterns and behaviors that they're not too sure where they've formed. So the type of work that I do is it's quite similar in a way to Western psychology or counseling, in the sense that you want to create a timeline of events. Western counselling and psychology, however, just focuses on the timeline and the events that have taken place in this lifetime. With past life regression therapy, we still want to create a gestalt, which are, for example, 5 key influences that have shaped the individual on their current journey. So pivotal moments that have taken place in their life. Depending on the age of the individual, if they're 50, we would look at a key moment that took place 40, 30, 20, 10. Normally there's an indicator of trauma or something that's taken place in their early childhood, developmental years. And these are normally the clues that we work off, and then we continue along that timeline back into time and space, into the very first time they experienced that in a past life. Now, the reason,
So some of the stuff that has gone wrong, or the stuff that's imprinted on us in the child years, so that you're saying they're breadcrumbs to issues that we've carried in other lifetimes.
Definitely. And the thing is, they're not supposed to be detrimental. These are supposed to be mountains that we climb for personal growth. They're not supposed to be mountains that we carry. So the one soul chooses to incarnate into this existence to master something. And sometimes that mastery may take many, many lifetimes. There's no rush. There really is no rush as to when one person would achieve this life lesson, but they are on the path of achieving a goal in this lifetime. That is their soul mission. So we will find that sometimes people have gone through numerous reincarnations, reliving very similar patterns, sometimes with very similar people as well, because we experience our lifetimes with soul families. So, for example, in this lifetime, your parents are your parents, but in a past life, they could have been a brother or a sister or a friend, but they will still play a pivotal role in your soul growth.
So I've got one question.
Yes.
Would it be one that has many lives, or the one life that has many experiences?
So it would be your soul essence has many lives. And these many lives, depending on the soul lesson, will have a similar experience to them. So I hope that answers your question, Stuffy.
So it's funny, you'd think that if we had all these past lives, that we'd all have a lot more of our stuff together by now.
Yes.
But we still seem to struggle in some areas, and I feel like we must have mastered this in other lifetimes.
We've mastered different facets of ourselves in different lifetimes, and I guess we're all here for very different reasons in this particular lifetime. But there really is no set rule. There isn't a certain amount of lifetimes that you're supposed to master something. It just depends where the individual is at. And the thing is, if we remembered all our past lives and all the experiences, it would be a very hectic headspace for us. So mostly we have the imprints of past lives in our younger years. That's why we've done a lot of studies on children and stuff that remember past lives. They're like, oh, I was this person, and I remember my family, and their parents are shocked because they're like, well, what do you mean? We are your family. But because they're so young and fresh, their soul, when it comes in, they still remember it. And then, of course, we go through the conditioning of life. We go through the conditioning of school, our school system, and everything then sort of gets a little bit suppressed, you would say. Unless, of course, you have a highly emotional parent that's teaching you these things. Most kids aren't taught. We're not taught about our spiritual nature, which is very unfortunate. But at a younger age, these things just depends, I guess, on your cultural background as well.
That's a very interesting choice of words. A highly emotional parent. Why did you pick that?
Because I think generationally, it's very hard to have had a very emotional parent. I guess it's a generational thing as well. Like our parents, they had a very different upbringing based on their parents' upbringing. Only now, though, are we more exposed to, I guess, information. We're sort of, evolving. We're opening up. The younger ones now that are coming through are highly sensitive, highly energetic with that fresh energy. But back then, in our parents' days and in our grandparents' days, unfortunately, they didn't have that. So there was a lot of trauma there for them, which of course that trauma gets passed on as well through lifetime, through parents and ancestors.
Yeah, I guess if you have one of those parents that's open to it. I mean, I've noticed even in spirituality, some of the people that have grown up with parents that, do all that stuff. There's certain areas that they're really tuned into because they're encouraged, like super in tune.
Yes. Yes.
But
yes, I know I didn't because it's something that wasn't aware. Like I grew up in, I wouldn't say it was a religious household, but my parents believed in heaven, and if you, well, this is what they were taught, and if you weren't good, then you'd go then somewhere else, then it wasn't heaven. And of course, there was no conversation about, well, what if and reincarnation, afterlife. So I was always very curious and intrigued. And this is where I guess people go on their own journey and they start searching and they start investigating and wanting to learn these aspects that their soul is drawn to. Whatever you're drawn to, look at what you're drawn to at a younger age, between the ages of 8 and 14, for example. What were your passions? What were you drawn to? And these are all indicators of energies that you've come through with. These are all tools. These are all guidance, you could say, to your soul's path.
Yep. I've got Annette Kirkwood has asked a question. How does this relate to inception/separation and the programming of our DNA? Is that like the imprints of...
I'm not sure what exactly this is referring to. How does this relate to inception, separation, and the programming of our DNA? Are we talking back to when we were seeded? I'm not sure what this question... Sorry, Annette.
Sorry, Annette, can you expand on that? Moving forward, I've got down here spiritual development, soul retrieval. So what do you do when you work with someone with spiritual development? What sort of things are you looking at to work with them?
Okay, so someone will come to me, we'll try and find the emotion that they're working on. Sometimes there are numerous emotions that one would be working on or wanting to work on, but we want to find the primary one that's most affecting the person's day-to-day life, that's affecting their relationships with other people, that's just affecting them energetically as well. So the first stage is always an interview stage, which is an in-depth 3-hour conversation. We're deep diving into the person's experiences, their behaviors, their personality, key people that have shaped their life, not only parental and family, but let's just say friendships or love relationships, a bit of a hurt sometimes for people. So we want to try and work out where they're at and what they want to achieve. There'll also be plenty of hypnosis training and stuff and a bit of a test run for the individual so that they know what to expect. Via the past life regression component. And then the second session is the fun part. That's when we are exploring the emotion that the individual wants to work on. So with relaxation techniques and breathing techniques, there's some guided visualization. We are then entering the past life. So we're directing the subconscious mind. That's what we're working with. We're directing the subconscious mind to go to the very first event that they experience the emotion. Their subconscious mind will then take them into that past life. We explore the past life from a younger age. We then work through that lifetime until we get to the point of death. Now, the individual will not feel anything. They're merely observing what's taking place. When the body expires, this is when the energy and the soul retrieval work takes place. If the death of the individual may have been traumatic, or there may have been a lot of sadness or regret in that lifetime, there'll also be an element of soul energy that's been left in the body. So what we want to do is, and what the individual does, because the individual is seeing everything through their own mind's eye, and I'm navigating the journey with them, is they collect the soul energy, and they create a body then that's whole and complete, and that soul energy then returns to them. So and the third part, yes.
Yep. So what is the soul energy exactly?
So soul energy is trapped energy. It's trapped energy due to the trauma of the event. Let's just say someone was shot, or let's just say someone was choked or strangled. There'll be residual energy in the throat area, or depending on where the wound was, there'll be residual energy that's been left there because of the trauma, because of the trauma imprint. And this energy is interesting because I had a client who went to see a doctor, numerous doctors, because she had pains in the side of her rib. And the doctor said, we don't see anything. There's nothing wrong. There's nothing wrong with you. So we did a past life regression exploration with her, and she found herself as an Eskimo woman on this sledge, and it was white snow all around her, and she had her 2 babies in the back. And she recalls seeing someone in the distance and all of a sudden feeling this arrow in her rib, which is where she was experiencing the pain in this current lifetime. So because of the experience and the trauma of leaving her babies behind, she had also left soul energy there, which was an imprint and an indicator of that trapped energy in this lifetime. So once we brought clearing to that lifetime and to the area affected in the body, the pain that she was feeling and the discomfort dissolved.
Wow.
It just dissolved because it's an energetic thing. So we're retrieving that energy, and then we're bringing healing to the body, and at the same time we're dissolving it, and that dissolving of energy travels through time and space to this very moment in her current body. So it was quite profound for her.
I said, because I've read a lot about ancient practices, Aboriginal healing, and shamanism, and they all lean towards to go back and find where the root trauma is.
Yes.
But I guess with what you do, you take it one step further and you go, well, it might not be in this life. Let's go back further.
Well, shamanism is a very similar tool. But the shaman though is navigating the journey for the individual, and they're going and retrieving those lost soul fragments for the client. With past life regression therapy, I'm journeying with the individual. But the client is seeing everything through their own mind's eye. So everything is there for them to see and to interpret. I'm guiding them though in case there is a trauma that's present or something takes place and I need to navigate the situation in a bit more depth. But the individual though is seeing everything through their own mind's eye.
So can it get too hectic, some of the stuff for some of your clients?
Some of it does get heavy. Sometimes we fall into these memories that they've got trauma related to them, and there's a memory imprint there. There are safe tools though that are used where we normally come out of the memory. We're still observing it, but from a distance. You're not actually in it viewing it. You're more detached from the memory and from the scene, and you're merely observing it from a distance. And from this distance, it's a lot more safer for most people because they're peering down. They could be peering down at the memory, or they could be observing it from the side, as opposed to in it and feeling it and smelling what's happening around them and hearing the sounds. Yeah. Because some of them do fall into some pretty, intense memories, which are there though for they reveal themselves by the higher consciousness for a very specific reason to the individual. Yeah.
Well, I can imagine most people sort of have had experiences in all areas like war and all that sort of stuff.
Yes, yes.
Before, so I guess no one's left out of being Mr. Nice Guy or Mr. Nasty Guy.
No, everyone's experienced death, trauma, starvation, whatever you want to call it. Every single different aspect of the human experience we've more or less experienced at some point in time in our lives, in our past lives.
So when you say soul retrieval, soul fragment, what exactly do you mean by that? That's just a label for...
Well, this is the soul retrieval work that was just mentioned when the body expires. So if there was a traumatic death, as I mentioned, let's just say the person was hung, there will be soul that's trapped in that part of the body. So what we're doing is we're in order to, there needs to be an energetic exchange. So when one person wants to heal that area, what we're doing is we're filling it with something else. So where the trauma was and where that energy is residing, we want to fill that energy, that body part with something else. So the process is I ask the individual, what would that body part need? So what did you need in that lifetime that you weren't getting? And in most cases, it's love or it's acceptance, or it's mostly love though that body part needs, because that is our true expression. We are love, we sit in our heart space. We're love creatures. So the individual then takes their time and they nurture that body and they give it what it needs until it releases that trapped soul energy. So that's what you call energy retrieval. And sometimes this may take 5, 10, 15, sometimes 20 minutes, half an hour. It depends how connected the individual was to that past life, what the trauma was. There are many different aspects and dependent though on the individual. So there is no time frame. It just depends when the body is ready to release it. And when the individual is ready as well to proceed.
So do you find that it's like if something's more traumatic, does it become more clearer for the person to see, or is every individual different?
Every individual is different. It doesn't mean that just because we land into a traumatic event that they won't see it. In most cases, if there is a bit more trauma in that lifetime, which not all lifetimes are traumatic, but if there is a little bit more trauma in that particular scene that we've entered, because the whole lifetime won't be traumatic, there will be certain scenes and chapters in that life, then it's mostly more vivid for the individual. Like they're in it, they're smelling what's happening around them, they're seeing it. It's almost like they are there in that very moment. That's how real the memories are for the individual.
Now I was talking to you before about some of the past life where I've had smell and they've been amazing, but sometimes I've had work done where I've gone back through stuff and it just seems very vague. So what happens when it becomes really vague?
It depends. We don't always connect to the memories with our third eye. Sometimes we connect with sounds. Sometimes it's a feeling or a knowing. So sometimes people will fall into a lifetime or into a particular scene in that lifetime, and they're like, oh, I don't connect to much, but I have a feeling that this is what's happening. And sometimes the mind does this as a protective mechanism. If there is still trauma there. Or sometimes, I guess, I'm sort of working and I'm prompting around the individual to find out what exactly is taking place. But sometimes It's just that there's something else that's coming forth. We not only use our mind's eye, we also connect, as I said, with hearing and feeling. It's an intuitive thing as well.
So in the subconscious, when something's like too traumatic, is it like normal people? We try to avoid the situation. Is the subconscious doing that too? It's like, I don't want to go there. I don't want to go there.
Yeah, of course. That's where everything is stored. Everything, every memory that we've ever had, every experience is all stored in our subconscious mind. So going back to what I said previously with conventional Western traditional medicine and mind work, you're only talking about it. You're talking about it, and this is in a conscious fashion. But with hypnotherapy and these deep relaxation techniques, we're then able to connect to the subconscious mind. So it's like a half awake, half asleep sort of state. The person is still aware that they're in the room, but they're more internalized, like they're more focused on their internal feeling as opposed to what's going on around them and sounds and lights and whatever else is taking place. So we're in that happy space of half awake, half asleep. They're not asleep, because if they were asleep, imagine if you're sleeping and I was asking you questions. Hi, Brooke, what do you notice? You wouldn't be able to answer me. But they're half awake, half asleep, and very much aware of their surroundings, but they're more internally focused.
I've got a I've got a meditation recliner that I bought for meditation, and I do like the self-hypnosis in it. But when I fall asleep during the hypnosis, I just go, oh, that's deep healing.
Well, a lot of people do play certain audios when they're sleeping because that's when we're most subjectable is obviously in that sleep period as well. So if you're playing a certain audio or a certain reprogramming, that is the best time to play it as well. So even though you can't hear it because you're sleeping, you actually still can hear it, and it's still being filtered through the mind.
I had
so you're still getting all the benefits.
My brother was asleep one day on the lounge, and I kept telling him to clean the family room.
Yes.
And he was asleep. The TV was still going, so I went over to YouTube and I put ASMR sleep hypnosis for cleaning.
Oh,
and he actually, and then when he woke up, he actually started cleaning up, and I'm just laughing my head off going.
The best time to start programming the mind is just as you're about to fall asleep. Obviously, during sleep, you can do that as well. And first thing in the morning. Yes.
What about with children, if people are having problems with children? Because I've had a little tablet, and I got a little Bluetooth thing, and I did I had a playlist of hypnosis, sleep hypnosis, and I used to play it. I did that for a little bit. I used to play it to help me deal with some stuff. I'm just wondering, can people do stuff like that to help them with some of their kids' issues or when they're young?
For the children?
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess they could. Yeah, definitely. You're more or less planting that seed of what you like. So if you want a particular outcome, it's just about suggestibility as well. So this is like clinical though hypnotherapy. So you'd be planting those seeds of suggestibility of what you want the individual to be doing.
Yeah.
So I guess if you had a child that for some reason was behaving in a certain way, but these are indicators though of something else as well.
Okay.
Yeah, these are always indicators, like if the child is behaving a certain way, like I'm obviously not a child specialist, but if a child is behaving a certain way, there's something that they're needing that they're not able to express. Hypnotherapy could help them, but I think, there might be other tools as well, depending on the child.
Would hypnotherapy work on animals, or we just don't speak on their language, or do that because they say they
that's
understand
a very interesting question. I've never thought about, never been asked that, Brooke. That's really interesting. Hypnotherapy on animals. Look, people do use Reiki on animals, and it calms them down. I'm not sure though. I'm not sure. What were you thinking?
I don't know. I was just thinking I could change the behaviour of one of the cats. in this house.
Oh, really? What's wrong with her or him?
It's just a rat bag. She's just a little rat bag. Absolutely.
Well, cats do have a mind of their own.
Oh, they do. So when you do your sessions to, you talk to people and that before you do the session. So you do a lot of you lead them in for like say a first session and do some base meditation work with them to get them sort of more in the zone.
Yeah, definitely. So there's a bit of music that's involved, some sound therapy, and then what we're doing is we're just relaxing the body. That's what we want to do. And it's fantastic for one's mental health, being in that state of relaxation, because we live in such a fast-paced world, and we're constantly distracted with digital things and electrical things. It's nice to just have that quiet space. So there's a bit of music, and then there's some deep breathing just to bring us a bit more grounded and focused in the experience. And then we're just relaxing the body. So this process normally takes about half an hour, where we're relaxing each body part. And we really want to become focused in our own internal experience, and we just want to become nice and comfortable. And then there'll be some guided visualization to start stimulating the mind as well. And then depending on the process that's used, and depending on the individual as well, because some people have certain fears or phobias, so there are different strategies for each person. They'll normally be, for example, a forest or a landscape of some description, where they're visualizing their favorite place, and this is their anchoring point as well. So every time, or if they do experience an experience and they're starting to drift up into consciousness and they're starting to analyze what's happening in the past life, we always use that anchor as a means to reconnect to being relaxed and with our own internal experience.
Do you find that people that are sort of like do a lot of meditation and a lot of self-work like that, is it a lot easier to get them straight into the hypnosis state?
It's interesting. I've had clients that haven't done any work and they're just straight in. Normally, though, I find people that have done or that do practice a little bit of mindfulness, such as meditation, I find they go in easily. But look, if someone hasn't, that's perfectly fine as well, because there is practice that takes place beforehand. There are audios as well that I would send you just to prepare yourself for your session, because I want you to go into your session ready for the experience. But there are some people, though, that sometimes it depends on their faith as well. Like if you weren't raised to believe in past lives and reincarnation, you may not go in as easily because of your own belief system. So beliefs do come into play for the individual as well. But if you're ready and you're excited and you want to take that leap, and you listen to the suggestions as they come up, then you will go right in. And as I say to each client, just go in from a state of curiosity. Like whatever comes up, it might seem a little bit, what is going on, which is only natural for the mind to start questioning it. But just observe the images that they come up, just come into it from a place of curiosity and just let the images unfold. The more a client is able to interact with me as I'm asking the questions about where they are and building the scene around them, the more the images will come to them as well, the more connected they'll be to the experience.
Well, I've had that with some of the stuff that I've experienced. I've had some healing work done with hypnotherapy, and it feels like they're asking me questions and I'm making it up almost. But then again, at the same as I was talking before, I've had one where it was like I was there and I smelt it, I heard it, I could taste it, and it's just. Now, you were saying that sometimes if it's a deeper, you get more input, and it sort of seems more real, that it's more of a significance.
There is a residual imprint there in the memory of some description, where the subconscious mind is like, okay, I remember this, and I'm in it, and I'm feeling it again, because it left some sort of a trauma mark in my psyche and in my energetic imprint. But as I said, there are safety tools that are used for the individual, and they are always safe and they are always protected from anything that surfaces. So we're just merely observing. We don't need to relive anything traumatic.
Yeah.
We're merely observing from a point of spiritual growth. Yeah, so that we understand, okay, I went through that lifetime
Yep.
for a very particular reason. And now I've realized that I'm living certain patterns from that lifetime in this lifetime that no longer serve me. They're not actually helping me anymore. They're actually hindering my growth. And I want to realize what they are, and then I want to heal them and bring healing to that lifetime. And then also, once that takes place, the realization then of what their soul purpose is in this lifetime is
Yep.
more apparent. They're like, okay, I get why I experienced that when I was young, and then I met that person, and then this happened. Okay, I'm no longer now in victim mode, which is easy to be. Why did this happen to me? Why
Yeah.
me? Why did it happen? I'm now in, okay, I'm reclaiming what took place. I learned from that experience. I feel more empowered. I feel more grounded. And I'm not that 10-year-old child anymore that didn't have the tools. I'm now a grown, wiser individual. And I'm going to move forward. I'm going to move forward into a place of happiness and love and an abundance of everything that I'm seeking because I've healed that trauma. Yeah, it's quite powerful.
I've got someone has asked, is it necessary to go into past life regression to heal soul traumas from those times? Is that the only way we can do it?
Well, yes. Yes, you need to enter that lifetime. You need to be able to see what took place in order to understand what the reason of that lifetime was, and then bring healing to it. Because you're actually witnessing it, you're actually reliving it, you're witnessing it, and then the healing takes place when you look at that individual and you say, okay, they lived a hard life, they had this and this experience. Let me bring healing to that lifetime. This is when the healing takes place, when the body expires. I want to bring healing to that body. I want to give it what it didn't have in that lifetime. And now I'm feeling empowered and connected to those memories, but in a healthy way. And I'm able then to proceed with my own life journey in this lifetime in a healthier manner, because that's what we want. We want to understand, okay, why am I repeating certain things? Why am I attracting certain people into my life? Why do I have these fears or unexplained phobias? Where do they come from? Why do I feel depressed? Why do I feel anxious? All these are indicators that something has definitely taken place in this lifetime, but we can also go back into previous incarnations from a soul perspective to gain clarity into our soul journey. That's what it's about. It's a soul journey experience. That's why we go into these past lives,
Yep.
to try and put the pieces together of who we are and what we've experienced before.
You do ancestral healing and something to repairing relationships. Can you tell us a bit about that?
Well, the ancestral healing comes from healing generational trauma. So generational trauma that's passed on through our energetic system. It could be that we're feeling something that's not even ours.
Yep.
But as mentioned earlier on, we are energy beings. It could be something that was passed down from our mother, sitting in her womb. It could have been something that was passed on from our grandmother that passed it on to our mother. These are the generational traumas that we want to heal. And when we do become aware of where we're at and why these things have taken place, especially around family dynamics, then we're healing generations of trauma, and we're healing it so that we don't pass it on to future generations, so we don't pass it on to our children, so that we're at least healing our family dynamics and understanding, okay, my father was X and my mother was a certain way. Okay, I now understand that based on their generational trauma, they obviously didn't have a voice in certain scenarios or situations because of XXX, but I'm I'm not going to blame them for that. I'm going to send them love, and I'm going to recognize where they're at on their path and their journey, but I'm going to heal it within myself so that I'm not passing it on then to my children, or to my nieces and my nephews, or whatever the case may be. So through that soul retrieval and understanding who we were, we're also bringing healing into everything else after that.
Yep. So a lot of the ancestral healing can be just you have the soul family in this lifetime.
Yes, of course.
Direct learn. And does that
yes, of course.
is that all? That's also in past life?
Soul families.
Ancestral healing.
Yes, of course. Yes, of course. It takes place once you heal that lifetime and what's taken place with your soul family. It heals every single lifetime after that. So we're always going to the first point, the very first time the individual felt that emotion, and we're going to that lifetime, which then heals our lineage and also whatever else was there. It might be related to soul families that were in that dynamic as well, and it also brings healing to them too. Because what happens is, what happens is the third part of the process, so after the second session, which is when the body expires and we bring healing, the trauma release takes place. The third session is when the body expires, we turn into energy form. And a lot of people describe it the same way as it's described in a near-death experience. So they've died, or they feel like they've died, they see a white light and they're walking towards the light, and all of a sudden they're greeted by loved ones or spiritual beings or spirit guides, and they're always ushered with love to go back. And anyone that's had a near-death experience normally describes it in a very similar way: white light, greeted by loved ones, and then ushered back. So in the third part of the past life regression process is once we brought healing to the lifetime, we then move to the fifth dimension, which is where our soul is from. And this is when we connect with our spirit guides, with our wise elders, we connect with our soul family. We also connect to the souls of the individuals in that previous lifetime that we've explored, and we bring healing to them there. Because in the fifth realm, there's no ego, there's no emotion, and there's no heaviness of emotion like there is in the third realm, which is where we reside now. The fifth realm is about love. It's about connection. There's no judgment. It's all about, nothing like that. There's no blame game. It's only, okay, what did I learn? Okay, what could I have done better? And it's such a beautiful realm to be in and to reside in, because you feel the love and you feel like, oh my God, nothing's that heavy. Nothing's as bad as I think it is, It's just a journey that I'm on. And the journey is to come back to myself and to bring healing to whatever's taken place that's stopping me from feeling empowered, from feeling my true authentic self. That's what it is. And when we enter that fifth dimension, nothing really matters. The worries that we have in this third realm, they don't exist. They don't exist. It's a higher frequency that we reside in.
That's probably why we always agree to come back and do more experiences.
Yes, exactly right. Exactly right. But we're never alone, though. We always come with helpers, and we come with our soul family, and we recognize our soul families. Sometimes they are our immediate family, sometimes they're a best friend, or sometimes they're a partner, a husband or a wife. But we recognize them. Sometimes they're just friends as well. There's a certain similar energy to the individual that we recognize. And it's a feeling of home as well.
Yeah, well, I saw that. Was it that movie Cloud Atlas? And that was about sort of soul family in different timelines. And this one guy that was obviously soul family to this other person just out of nowhere said, for some reason, I just feel the need to help you in this situation.
Yes.
I just feel a strong urge to help you. And obviously they were tied in other lifetimes, but it was almost like a stranger just came up to them at a time of need and said, hey, I've got the son, I have to help you.
And that's what it is. It's like an instant just connection
Yep.
with the individual. We just connect with them. Sometimes it's for a short, brief period of time. Sometimes it's a little bit longer. Sometimes it's through our whole life, you know. But we do meet certain people that we have an instant bond with for a very special purpose. Very special. It's primarily for soul growth. That's what it is. Yeah, it's to help. The individual will help us in some way with unhealed, suppressed, the shadow traumas. They're there to help us and guide us on our journey.
Sounds like fun and games.
Sometimes it's fun and games. Sometimes it feels a little bit heavy, but we shouldn't view it as something, you know, too hard. Like, as I said, the mountain is to be climbed, not to carry. We just want to learn through our experiences and take a bit of time for introspection. Okay, why did I experience this? What did it serve for me? What did I learn? What can I do better moving forward? And you just keep on going. You just pick yourself up and you keep on going. Just don't hold on to old wounds, you know. Don't reside in that domain. There's light out there. Connect to the light. Connect to, you know, beings as well. Be with people that make you feel good. You know, that's really, really important as well as energy beings. Be with people that make you feel good, that make you feel alive. If you're in an environment with people and they make you feel heavy and dense, try and limit your interactions with those people. Reside with people that make you feel good, though, and happy.
So have you got, can you tell us some examples of some stories about what people were going, just so in case the audience can relate, some other issues that people have had that they've been helped with hypnotherapy?
Oh, look, it's everything. It's from depression to anxiety to people that experience panic attacks, people that are in dysfunctional relationships, repetitive patterns, addictions. It just varies. It really varies. And most of the time, people just feel disconnected from themselves, from their soul. That's what it is. It's a cry from the soul, that they've sort of either veered the wrong way, or they're not loving themselves enough. They're not respecting themselves enough. Sometimes they're not respecting their boundaries. They're not spending enough time in joy and in love and in happiness. And if we're not doing the things that bring us joy, then we're going to start feeling sad. We're going to start feeling anxious. We're going to start feeling depressed because something within us has been suppressed. Something within us hasn't been voiced. It hasn't been heard. We haven't felt connected. It all comes down to connection and love and trust and these high vibrational frequencies that once people see who they were and what they're capable of, these things just start melting away, these emotions, and they do feel vibrationally higher and healthier. Yeah.
So what advice would you give to someone that's what advice would you give to yourself when you started getting onto this spiritual path?
Oh wow. That everything happens for a reason. Sometimes we do choose certain situations, but to learn from them. Don't be too hard on yourself. Have happy thoughts. Thoughts are really, really important. What we choose to focus on really does shape our mental well-being. If we choose to reside in the past and we choose to reside in a fear mentality or in it's primarily fear though, and underneath fear there are many different other emotions, but I would say your mind is where you reside. Create a beautiful environment. Speak happy words to yourself. Speak words of encouragement to other people. Start your day and your morning with beautiful mantras. Create a visualization board. Visually, we're visual creatures. If you want to attract something and if you want to bring that, whatever it is, into your life, into your domain, you need to frequently be viewing it, to seeing it. So create that beautiful visualization board of what you want to attract and focus on the things that you wish to attract. Focus your energy and your mind, because the mind is very, very powerful. What you tell it is what you will get. And if you focus the mind on positivity and what you wish to attract, as opposed to what you didn't have or what happened in the past that you can no longer change, if you change your focus, you will realize instantly with your thoughts that you will feel better and you will feel happier. And when you feel better and you feel happier, then you're on a mission then, and that starts spreading. And you will start attracting more love and happiness into your life. Yeah, it all starts with our thoughts. They're very, very powerful. Speak good words to yourself. That's why mantras are so powerful as well.
Absolutely.
Mantras, affirmations, people are like, does it really work? Yes, they work, but it has to be done on a daily basis for it to really start working. You can't just do it one day and expect miracles. It has to be a lifestyle change. It has to be done continuously, and then it becomes just a normal state that you're in. And when you're in that normal state, your energy is flowing and you're open to receiving the abundance that you're trying to manifest.
Do you? You've got a special on at the moment.
I do have a special. Yes. I've got for all the lovely viewers of Intuitive Focus, I do have 15% off all sessions for the month of June. Yeah. So if you're for the month of June, yes. So 15% off. So reach out, let's have a chat, and let's start the journey. It's a beautiful, wonderful journey to be on. Connect to yourself and you will feel alive again. You really will. You'll feel energized.
Do you do sessions? Can you do sessions online, or is everything done in person? How do you usually
Everything is done in person. So I'm based in Glen Osmond, beautiful Glen Osmond, and I do all my sessions here from home. Yeah. So it's a nice, quiet space. It's safe, it's relaxed, and you'll feel comfortable through the journey of past life exploration. Yeah.
So if anyone's interstate in Australia, you better get driving soon. Better book a plane ticket if you want cheap hypnosis.
Yeah, it is one of those things that some people do it online, but I prefer though to be there with the individual, and just help guide them through the process. And then at least I can see what's going on and I'm able to ascertain the full picture of what's taking place. Yes.
Is there anything else that you'd like to talk about while we're here today?
No, look, if anyone's got any more questions, I'm more than happy. Reach out, send me an email, info@sahypnotherapy.com. My website is www.sahypnotherapy.com.au, and I'm more than happy then to schedule a time and we can have a bit of a chat if you've got more questions, or we can just book a session and jump straight in.
That's right, people. In the show notes, it's got Maria's all her links. So if you want to get hold of her, just look in the show notes, and it's all great. Well, it's been awesome to have you on the show.
Thank you,
I learned so much. I mean, I knew a bit about hypnotherapy. I know that it works, but it was just a really good eye opener, so I could just see that. There's sort of similarities in a lot of the healing modalities. How we go back to finding the energetic root cause of where it all went wrong. Usually when we came out and took our first breath, that's where it started.
It sure did. Yes, it sure did. It's a journey where we should all feel blessed to be here. We really should. And it's a journey at the end of the day. It's about experiencing ourselves and getting to know ourselves and just walking the path of the light. Yeah.
That's awesome. So anyone, if you've got any troubles, just hit Maria up and just drop her a note if you want, if you're just curious if you can be helped with whatever you're going through. And
definitely.
Yeah. Well, thanks again for being on the show. I had a lovely time, and I learned so much. And that's what we're here to do. Is we're here to connect, and we're here to learn. And thank you again. Namaste.
Thank you, Brooke. Namaste. Thank you.
Okay. Do you do any expos or any psychic fairs or anything like that?
No, I haven't been involved in. I know you just did the recent one that just took place last weekend. No, not as yet. No. Is
it too noisy to do it there or something like that? Or?
It's a little bit noisy. I think it's one of those things that I haven't quite delved into yet. You know, people are coming to me, and I'm happy with the flow of things that, you know, the flow that's taking place at the moment. Yeah.
Do you do? Is there any like sort of group like retreats or anything like that can be done with hypnosis?
I guess there could be potentially something that I would look at further on down the track. It is quite a personal experience as well. Hypnotherapy is one of the past life regression therapy is one of those very personal experiences. So I do prefer to do it one-on-one with the individual due to the sensitivity of, you know, the emotions that come up and whatever the individual is wanting to work on. Yeah.
What about if you had, say, like some people that know they were connected in a past life?
Yes.
Can you do two of them at once with something like that, or is it still just individual?
It's individual, but there is another component that once the person's done healing through past life exploration, there is the life between lives component, which goes into the most recent incarnation. So the most recent past life that we had just before this one. And then the time is primarily spent in the spirit realms. So this will give you an indicator as to why you chose your family, why you chose the body, why you chose your experiences, why you chose your soul family, who your soul family is as well. So clients normally come with a whole list of questions that they're wanting to ask their subconscious and higher mind, that when they sit in this state of the life between life experience, they're asking everything that they want to be surfaced, to come to the surface, you know. And a lot of the time they find out, oh my goodness, I didn't realize this person was part of my soul family, because it's not always light and shiny, the individual. Sometimes there's a darker aspect to the personality dynamic, and that's for particular reasons as well. You know, sometimes one person with a good guy, sometimes there's growth there, you know. I wouldn't say paybacks, but there's growth there for each individual. Yeah. So that's also a beautiful experience, but that's something that takes place after the past life healing component of one's journey, and then they go into the life between lives, which is what you do when you're in the spirit realms, because we come here with a certain amount of energy, and there's also a certain amount of energy in the spirit realm. So what are we doing with that? So then they'll see the activities that they're partaking in, further educational components that are taking place, that are playing out. Sometimes there's interdimensional travel that's taking place. So all this gets revealed in the life between lives component as well. So that's also something else that's fascinating too.
So this is all detailed on your website, all these different components to go through?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome. I'll have to look that up.
Yeah.
Because I bet I got some past life healing that I've missed.
I'll come in for a session. I'll give you a free session, Brooke.
Oh, awesome.
You can have a free past life session. Yeah.
Oh, great. I'll hit you up on that.
Yeah, you should.
Well, thank you. Is there anything else you'd like to add or say?
That's it. Thank you very much for having me on your show. It's been awesome. Lovely connecting with you. And I hope my message was insightful and connects to the people that
absolutely.
Need it. Yeah.
Absolutely. It's good to just see how much more deeper it goes and how much more stuff that you can tackle from it.
Yes.
Because people sort of just go, oh no, we do this modality, we do that modality, but there's just so much more in everything, and we try different things, and some things might work better for other people, some things might work better for other people.
Yeah, exactly right. Whatever you're drawn to. Yeah.
Okay. Thanks again for coming on the show. Have a good night and a namaste, everyone. Thank you,
namaste. Thank you.
And see you later. Okay.
Bye.
Bye.